Ну что же, приступаем к спидрану.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate the intro. This is Astalon, Tears of the Earth. This is a PC Metroidvania game that came out just last year. And yeah, it's got various characters and things like that. We can talk about that as the run gets started. I've got my co-commentator Colt here with me. If you want to say your little intro piece.
Yep. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody.
Awesome. We will get right into it. There's a lot to explain, but we're kind of have ample opportunity to do so. Time is going to start after the initial load. It's a little bit hard to gauge, so I'm just going to kind of feel it out and time it in for you guys if you are ready on the counter.
Если рассказать немножко об истории, то 3 героя, за которых мы будем играть, маг Алгус, воин Ариас и лучница Кьюли, в начале игры бродят по постапокалиптической пустыне, чтобы спасти свою деревню. И вскоре они находят темную искривленную башню, поднявшуюся из глубин самой планеты, что, возможно, содержит ключ к их выживанию и спасению в целом. Но чтобы обеспечить себе победу, один из них заключил тайный договор, вот сейчас могли видеть, с Титаном Смерти, Эпиметием, кажется. И из-за чего они теперь будут постоянно перерождаться, возрождаться, пока не выполнят миссию. Вот начальная локация.
Yeah, I think that's most of us.
Colt, do you want to kind of explain what's going on with these funky jumps here?
Yeah, so,
На кострах, кстати, мы сможем сохраняться и в начале игры, то есть сейчас менять персонажей мы сможем только на костре. В дальнейшем, получив один предмет определенный, мы сможем, собственно, лечить героев в любой удобный нам момент. В целом, нам будет необходимо собрать как можно больше орбов вверх, для того, чтобы прокачать как можно больше умений, ведь будут сплошные босс-файты впереди. И также важно вкладываться в ХП, ну и прокачивать умения, естественно. Орбы мы получаем из ящиков и светильников. Ну и, естественно, убивая врагов.
You're going to see a couple more of those jumps throughout. Some of them are going to be a lot easier because they're going to be just like slightly more than 3 tiles, but some of them are going.
В начале игры мы будем играть в основном за воина, потому как он сейчас наносит больше всего урона.
But we won't be getting another one for quite a while.
У воина еще очень сломанный прыжок в этой игре, и он позволяет при помощи атак прыгать на один тайл выше. Не очень стабильная штука, но позволяет очень сильно ломать игровую последовательность.
That little spell that we cast at the very start in the intro as Algus kind of wandered into the area is meant to bring us back.
Также можно быстрее еще по лестницам карабкаться, если просто прыгать на них вверх.
А по особо длинным лестницам можно быстрее передвигаться, если махать мечом, но это не везде доступно. Сейчас мы как раз-таки встречаем босса, с которым еще не раз будем файтиться. Это Черный Рыцарь.
По-моему, этот файт проигрывается.
Да, его неизбежно проигрываешь и умираешь. Естественно. Мы видим, Черный Рыцарь прерывает все наши атаки.
Игра, так сказать, знакомит с одной из основных механик, После смерти мы можем закупаться, прокачиваться.
Epimetheus, by the way, was pondering his orb before it was cool. Just gonna put that out there.
I believe he exists outside of time, so.
So that very first shot purchase,
Вот
you're gonna think,
мы
okay, well, we had to take this forced death.
появляемся
Why don't you
перед
go all the way down and take the time to duplicate your orbs, knowing that
торговцем,
you're going
и
to
сейчас
have to
будем
take this forced death so
закупать
quickly. And that's because we want orb
м,
attract.
Orb
Orbs are
Seeker,
basically gonna be
чтобы автоматически подбирать
current
орбы.
run and all of the upgrades. So you're not gonna want to have to chase them. This is kind of the reintro part, and it's like, hey, we've all just arrived. And Algus is like, yes, we've all just arrived. In terms of accessibility options as well, big props to the devs. I personally, before we...
Начало игры в основном будет за маг, за воина проходить. Но уже ближе к концу все сместится к магу, особенно когда мы его основательно прокачаем.
Где-то
Наберем
после
орду.
15 минуты он раннер сменит, собственно, на мага, перейдет в основном на него, будет наносить достаточно много дамага за счет некоторых способностей, которые он приобретет у торговца.
Там еще потом по игре можно получить колокольчик, который позволит менять персонажей когда угодно. Вот это вообще приятная штука. Не придется больше к костру бегать. Хотя к костру в основном тут будут использоваться разные дисварпы. Раннер будет умирать по плану и перемещаться за счет этого. Заодно закупать всякие вещи.
Выбираем ключи. Как можно понять, определенные ключи подходят к определенным дверям.
Another max height ladder jump here. We're gonna hope this one goes better than the tutorial skip did.
And this is the hardest glitch in the game to make full use out of.
Как раз таки, да, сейчас запрыгну.
I'd take that any day.
Тут обычно поделены секции по персонажам, и тут синий не должен прыгать и вставать это, но он может это сделать. И очень много скипает, в принципе.
It's also worth noting this game autosaves, and it autosaves on your death. So there's no real backups that you could normally plan for, because kind of you take a death and like it's not like you can just reset and load your game or anything like that.
Yeah, that's kind of the roguelike element where they don't intend.
Кстати, дальше мы можем видеть светильник. Разбив его, раннер сможет получить немножко хп, восстановить. Секретная комната с кучей орбов, что в дальнейшем нам очень сильно пригодится.
Basically completely buffer your jump inputs to the point where if you press jump anytime while you're in the air before you land, you will immediately jump when you land, which is kind of nice.
Ранее рассказал, что тут есть механика буфера, и, например, если он при приземлении нажмет прыжок, то он автоматически сразу прыгнет дальше. Потому что следующее действие, оно запишется в буфер игры. И это очень приятная штука.
Кстати, мы сейчас проходили небольшие лужи крови. Один из боссов как раз таки будет передвигаться по подобной. Но, как вы могли заметить, сам воин в такой луже будет замедляться.
I'm going to take red. So her special ability basically is that she can do a single
И
wall jump right
сейчас
now. We're going to expand that later
меняем
to
на
multiple wall
лучницу,
jumps.
чтобы пройти.
Right now that's kind of her gimmick. She uses a bow, so she's also a ranged
Одну
character.
зону использовать
And the bow is
рейнджевую
also
атаку.
the slowest attack speeds in the game. So we don't like to use her. It's not very easy to use. You have to make sure your shots count.
Да, это такой классический рога.
You also try and
У
like
нее есть лук и
to shots
особая
or
способность,
shots
которая
on
позволяет
your
отпрыгивать
character.
от стен.
So like I'll start the attack animation there as I'm in mid jump.
Такая
Yeah, like any good retro game, whenever you do an attack, it's going to have a
достаточно приятно прыгать иногда, когда
those as much as we can.
очень близко к ладжу летишь, она все равно зацепляется за него вот этим вот прыжком. Он как бы не совсем такой двойной прыжок, но при этом он очень смешно работает со всякими поверхностями.
Block that's going to be destroyed after you hit it, it won't. It'll just ignore it. So
Get ready for everyone's favorite key in the run, the booty key.
the booty key. Great room. Devs have a sense of humor.
It's funny too, because when it comes to runs, the devs have really taken kind of like opposite perspectives because
И вот здесь
John
как
was
раз
all
таки
excited
уничтожаем
about
врага.
runs and wanted to kind of know what was up, and then Matt was of the mindset that he kind of didn't want to know what we were doing.
Ну, и, конечно, урон у нее может побольше, чем у синего, но ДПС поменьше. Синий вот очень много ударов в секунду делает.
Hopefully he takes in this run and enjoys it. But
Тут
big
приходится
thing is that
накидывать
they've been
много стрел
not
врагам.
only making the game, but like communication with us has been phenomenal. There's no
Oh,
other way to put
definitely,
that.
Yeah. When we first started the speedrun
Вот мы
Discord,
взяли ключ.
John was on board. He was in. He's like, "Let's see what you got. What's going on?" And then Matt's like, "Maybe don't want to see that stuff because I don't want to feel like I have to fix it." So no, they've both been great though, and I think Matt's gotten a little more accepted
Переключаем
to just
снова на синего.
knowing everything that's happening and all the attention.
Yeah, honestly, this game, in my opinion, deserves to get more.
Очередная
attention.
секретная
The map
комната
is
с
gigantic.
кучей
Like,
орбов,
casually, I think Hundo took me like 12
что
hours
мы
or
достаточно
something like that.
быстро потратим.
There's tons of
ближайшее
items
время.
that are specialized for each character. Each character has lots of really unique attacks and stuff like that. There's 2 extra characters, like I said, that you won't see today, but are absolutely a treat.
Анимация походки у него классная. Как будто в припрыжку идет.
Yeah, basically. So here we didn't really explain it, but as we're going, we're hitting these little eyeball glowy things that are in the background.
Это заклинание в будущем поможет нам в уничтожении призрачных врагов уже на локациях с более сильными врагами ближе к концу игры.
The ghost is kind of like secondary. It will come in handy, and we're definitely going to use that ability as it's meant to. But primarily, our goal for getting this and the reason for getting this was for the sequence break, which was actually discovered by Cold by accident.
Yep, during my casual playthrough, I ended up doing a skip, and then we had to figure out what made it.
Говорят, там комментатор казуальную игру проходил, случайно скип нашел.
Yeah,
Сейчас
basically
будет
with Algus,
показывать.
you see me pick up the Arcanist ability, which the Arcanist ability increases his projectile size. Algus, like, is a wizard, so he does shots. They're not full screen distance. It's not the range of the bow, for example. But he's going to get Alchemist, which is going to make his projectile larger and have 2
Используем
surrounding
ключ, и
projectiles.
сейчас
When you
будет
get Vanish, it actually changes the 2 surrounding projectiles to be circles instead of just normal shots. And
небольшой
that
босс-файт.
characteristic is what lets us do the sequence break and actually hit the switch. Because it changes the hitbox just enough in our favor.
Yeah, we're talking like 1 pixel, like just enough. Here's our first boss, though. It's a lot of fun.
Это
As you can see,
первый
there's a
босс.
hitbox or,
Как раз
health bar
залит
going on
весь
here.
киселем.
Try to get as many hits as we can. It is
Хорошо, кстати,
entirely
что
random
раннеру
where this
удалось
boss
сохранить как
spawns.
можно
It's
больше
gonna be
хп.
left or right on either the left side or the right side. And then after it appears twice, it's going to have this intermission phase where there's spikes coming up across from either left to right, right to left, or from both sides to the middle.
I'm actually
We
gonna
want
take a little
both
bit of
sides to
damage.
the middle. Is the best RNG we can get. So far, it's not looking good.
The starting RNG was great though. He spawned, and so is this. Like, if he
Yeah,
pops
this
up,
is-
Он дает нам, в принципе, хороший рандом.
We're not worrying about our health here, because we are going to be taking a death pretty soon.
holy.
В принципе,
That was a-
здоровье-то нам особо и не нужно. Потому что надо будет
We're
дизварпнуться
not
еще.
worried about health is right. I'm gonna have to take.
Вот ранее еще немного урона получил.
Time, we're too high health here.
Yeah. Marathon safety though, like normally, ideally with this fight, you want to finish with less than 7 health.
Обычно он этот файт проходит, и у него там остается
Not a huge deal.
7
We can
хп,
take
а
a
сейчас у
few
нас
extra fights.
26.
Очень быстро прошел. И как раз-таки
But that was
получили глаз горгулью, что
semi-okay.
понадобится в дальнейшем.
Well, actually, great RNG in where the spawns were, but not great RNG in the intermission. So here we're going to take our first death, our purposeful death.
Сейчас будем умирать
Forced, and we're going to use all the orbs we've collected to buy some very key upgrades.
и закупимся на апгрейды.
All right, it's the Alga show. Arcanist, attack speed up, and then a whole bunch into strength up.
Немного скорости атаки и силы. Силы много.
It's going to be a little bigger.
And we're back.
So as you can
И
see, as
вот
we
мы-
die, we get sit to right to the back with the last character where we're selected, and then we're gonna have to make our way back to where
Продолжаем
we
дальнейший
need to
путь.
be. Here we're gonna take the mask once again, so we get the multiplier for our orbs. Every time that we kill something, we get extra orbs from it, and that's important as we go. It's worth the little detour and the damage to come down here and get it.
This time we're gonna go back.
Нам говорят, нужна маска, короче, которая увеличивает бонус за арбы.
Elevators. You're gonna see it used multiple times throughout, just for the sake of death warping, but also because after the next boss, we're actually gonna be coming back to this section for the sake of routing.
Yep. Fun fact, you can't use the elevator unless you have the elevator key. So it's kind of important to grab, because if we don't, then we can't go back and forth. There would be no forced deaths, which is what we do in the New Game Plus run. We don't even grab the key because we don't need any upgrades. We don't need to die. So,
И вот мы уже поехали за мага на 15 минуте как
it
раз.
is your major safety. It's kind of like a checkpoint system. So if you're later in the game and you don't have,
Причем видно, что он наносит
you know,
достаточно много урона, еще и за счет увеличения на 30%
So in very
размера
traditional
выпускаемых
marathon lock, since they
снарядов,
put out the speedrun beta patch that we've been using with the text sticking
что
on, I
купили
haven't got
ну,
a
торговцы.
character swap glitch since then, and I just got it when I swapped to Algus. I
Если
almost
маг
got hit
наносит
during that
15 урона,
Cyclops
то
fight,
воин
because I was trying to
10.
control forced momentum.
Yeah, there is a minor glitch that sometimes when you character swap or when certain things happen that you'll let go of your controls and your directions and your character will keep running. That's mostly
Очередная секретка с
been
орбами.
fixed, but apparently it still happens. So
It's a really good jump. If you don't get that blue jump right away, this can be really frustrating because this guy will kind of like throw.
В целом, в игре
projectiles
очень важна
onto the
прокачка,
enemy and then even prevent you from getting up and take more damage.
чтобы получить определенные скиллы, как можно
some
быстрее
other thing to note,
победить
each of these characters kind of has a
боссов.
special little deal that they're doing. Algus, he can activate magical things. Like on this screen, you see to the right, there's a little mouth with a black orb in it. He can activate those magic balls, which changes how the room is laid out. All the triggers, anytime you activate something, that room is what's affected. So it's
Вот встречаем старого знакомого, темного рыцаря.
It's pretty cool. And here's our first time actually.
Теперь-то он нас не убьет.
We saw him early when he instantly killed our party through the cutscene. Now we get to fight him. And as you can see, he's kind of a pushover here. He's just walking towards us.
Что-то он даже не такой сильный, как в начальной катсцене.
Мы очень быстро с ним разобрались, и за него получаем где-то 800 сфер.
In fact, this is the ghost enemy, so you actually need Banish to kill that.
Yep, if you don't have banish, then all your damage just passes right through any ghosts.
Ну, мы как раз вот этих призраков побеждаем только за счет того, что у нас есть подобран спел Бэниш.
If I was doing PB attempts, I would damage
Иначе
boost,
бы наши атаки
so
пролетали бы
you guys
мимо.
do a little bit of platform waiting. If we maybe want to sneak in a quick donation.
All right, well, we have a $3,000 donation here from Dongen Entertainment.
Кстати, если герою удастся провести комбо из 5 ударов, то 5-й удар будет критическим. Нанесет примерно в 2 раза больше урона.
Big thanks.
So we just grabbed our second mask there, and it further ups our multiplier. So every time we get
На
more
дальнейших
mask,
боссах это будет очень полезно.
they're worth.
So these platforms
И здесь
absolutely
достаточно
terrible.
специфическая
There's a
локация,
basically that
потому как
on
может
one of these moving
попасться
platforms,
неудачный
essentially
цикл
your
врагов,
character could disappear,
но сейчас
sometimes you
прошло
would
все
fall
очень гладко.
through, sometimes you would, like, flicker. And again, they persistently
Немного не
tackle,
попал раннер в цикл,
us trying to, address
но
that,
ничего
like, you know
страшного.
what, it's still an issue, it's still an issue, and
О, сейчас будем, да, делать всякую грязь.
We need the larger projectile.
Активировали кнопку
the devs were
из-за
taking
стены.
it to heart because, like, for
Аккуратненько.
me, that platform caused anxiety.
Снаряды вот
I
эту
would
мага
go
летят
on that
сквозь
platform
стены,
and take damage, and it's not that it would, like,
поэтому
really
можно делать
Немножко
всякие
хилимся.
скипы.
Volantis, our next boss, you really want to have the most health possible for. It's a scary fight as a new runner. I really love the fight. I think I'm probably the only one that will say that.
I mean, it can be fun once you know it, but it's definitely a heavy reset point for any new runner.
Yeah. Volantis is all about reading the
Сохраняемся.
patterns and reacting accordingly.
Теперь нас ожидает
And it's
следующий
very
босс
easy for this
Гаргона.
fight to go off the rails, and you end up losing more health. I'm gonna do a safe version. Normally, I would like damage boost through a beam and kind of do this tactically to maximize damage that I do in the first phase and minimize the time in the second phase. Again, we're gonna be playing this safe.
Yep, so first phase involves us
Что, основное количество урона будет нанесено во время первой фазы, а вторая будет более такая сейвовая. Будем
Когда
играть
вылезет
аккуратнее. Да.
And then once it's reached a certain health threshold, it's going to go to phase 2 here.
We point on the butt.
Yep,
Alright,
usually
good start.
anything sparkly is going to be
Мы
elite.
как раз-таки можем видеть
As per
примерно
before.
откуда будет
This
оползать.
boss does have many
Это
different
нечто.
patterns. It's either going to come from the left or right, and then there's slow, there's fast, and there are also different sine wave patterns it can take. So you have to be really careful where you're standing and react in just less than a second, really, to make sure you don't get hit and take extra damage. We do have a lot of extra health now, so we can take several hits. We're fine.
В принципе, можно выдержать несколько ударов.
Here's a top slow pattern. We almost always take damage boost there.
Ну, один удар обходится примерно в 5 хп. Но, к счастью, с этим проблем сейчас нет.
Here. Overhead wiggles. Should
Лишь бы не накаркать.
Можно прям в него залететь и на этом матч-бусте нанести побольше атак.
You just gotta stand there and wait.
Прям внутри врага.
And here we go. Finish it off. Nice, nice. That was a really good fight.
Thank you.
Как с червем с прошлого рана.
We got the high sine wave pattern.
И вот Медуза Гаргона побеждена.
The longest. It's definitely the one you can take the most advantage of in terms of doing damage. I almost skipped overhead wiggles yesterday without doing the extended damage on phase 1. So to do more
За нее
damage on
мы
phase 1,
получаем
you would actually,
примерно
like, reduce how much you do slightly, and
3200
after the 3
орбов.
initial attacks, the mouth does a big beam attack, and you actually kind of want to let
Даже
the
побольше.
boss do that beam attack for the sake of then damage boosting through it and doing more damage during phase 1, because it's easier and faster than doing damage.
И глаз Гаргона.
But I was doing safe marathon strats yesterday, and I still almost skipped overhead wiggle somehow. I
Выбор.
just had really good luck.
And by the way, this
Возвращаемся
is
к
another
торговцу.
step that we're purposely taking.
И
So we can
на
use
сей
always
раз
delicious
него
orbs that we just
необходимо
got.
приобрести
Because we have a
шокфилд
4-time multiplier, we're gonna have a ton
не
of
за
orbs to use.
1400,
And we're just
что
gonna
увеличивает
concentrate on
скорость
this as much
атаки.
as we can.
Ну и дальше качаем все в силу.
The big one there was shock field. So I bought the attack
Сама
speed
по
up and
себе
much more
атака
attack up, and even a
шокфилд
couple defense up. Defense up,
это АОЕ атака с небольшим
phenomenal,
радиусом
reducing
действия.
damage by 1.
Она
We're very
наносит
much
примерно
approaching the
19
last
дамага,
situation where in
и
later
в
games
течение
you die
секунды
like
будет еще 4 раза наносить по 6 урона,
So,
когда маг будет
reducing
продолжать
damage
бить.
by 1 isn't really that big of a deal, but it's something we can spend anyways and, you know, make it a little safer, I guess. But Shock Field is kind of our star player, so it stacks additional damage ticks on top of your initial damage. You'll see boss health bars melt as a result.
Как раз таки Раннер об этом
But,
сейчас и
you're
рассказывает.
also gonna see kind of a little bit of slowdown happen because of those damage ticks.
So here we're just making our way back through where we were before, but we're going to take a slightly different route on our way back. We went over to that screen, reset the position of this platform, and we're going to head on up. And this is kind of a secret backdoor area.
Опять же лезем в секретики.
You can see we've got the 3 different colored keys. We're going to be picking up a red key here in a moment. Red keys are generally the least, or the
Такой небольшой секретный шорткат.
kind of like they hold the biggest secrets and like the most important stuff. Blue keys tend to be more for optional stuff, and then your silver keys or your gray keys or whatever tend to be your like storyline progression for the most part. Yeah, you can see the shock field there just doing work with the damage ticks.
Шокфилд очень хорошо работает.
It's a spot on the screen that continually deals damage based on the percent of your primary attack, so it's very valuable.
I definitely did not need to bump that ghost. It's a little
Yeah,
scary.
it probably wasn't optimal.
Alright, big shoutouts to Tex here. This is his puzzle.
Небольшой пазл.
E X. Fun story, when I was doing runs, I was optimizing basically everything except for that puzzle. Tex was like, you know you could do that faster, right? And I'm like, I know, I'm too lazy right now to figure out what that pattern is or like what's the optimal way to do it. He's like, just press these 3 buttons.
Yeah,
So Tex gets a
simplest
shout out.
puzzle ever, and we don't want to spend the time to figure it out. We want to run.
Раннер рассказывает историю, как ему сказали, вот
On our way, making
ты зараутил игру, а вот этот пазл не зараутил. А ты знаешь, что тут все проще это можно сделать? Он говорит, не, мне лень просто. И ему говорят, ну просто нажми вот эти 3 кнопки. И это будет оптимально. И, в принципе, это самый оптимальный вариант прохождения, который он нам сейчас показал. Немного получил урона. И мы добрались до колокольчика, который позволяет нам менять персонажей по ходу игры. Вот прям сразу, как в старых Castlevania'х. Там, в 3-й, кажется, или типа того.
And for the most part here, we weren't going to stay on Algus just because he's so good damage-wise, but then we'll swap to the other characters to progress where we needed. So this blue,
Но, кстати, по-моему, в отличие от Castlevania, тут, или там Bloodstained,
to go through.
смена персонажей не делает никакой паузы в игре. То есть она происходит мгновенно, и ее особо никак не загличить.
What would have been a long rest and a small detour, but getting hit by the ghost for 7 and then getting hit by the additional phantom.
Ну, кстати, свечить сейчас героев мы можем благодаря колоколу Афины.
7's a lot of damage that I don't necessarily want to have out in the open.
Добрый на Муране.
Oh, gross. All right.
It's
Rude.
kind of bad luck. Usually these guys aren't in your hallway that you need to walk in. Unfortunately,
Мамбу здесь уже наносит
not a huge deal. At this
больше
point, you
урона.
can just walk through.
I could, but I'm not going to potentially risk throwing my orb count out. It shouldn't be that bad, but I'm not going to risk it. All right, let's hope this guy's nice. So far, so good.
Go. Nice swap to red.
All right.
Тут уже комплексный платформинг требует разных персонажей.
Hopefully we don't touch a spike here. Good, good. So routing this game has been a really fun, somewhat challenging at points, but a lot of fun. There's several different ways to go about.
Рассказывают про то, как весело было раутить эту игру, да и все-таки она вышла в этом году, нет, в прошлом. Поэтому, да, ее раутили буквально недавно.
Blue has the Teleria boots, which
Возможно, можно что-то и новое в ней найти даже.
in this run, but Teleria is
Если я не путаю, то, кажется, игра где-то в 19 году вышла.
Ну, сейчас она
Ну,
вышла
достаточно свежая.
на всех платформах в 21-м. В 19-м, может, еще какая-нибудь версия была. Говорят, в 21-м.
I think maybe in a task setting, because you'd have to be very optimized in your movement for the dashes to work out great.
Надо понимать еще, что в Японии там игры сначала на каких-нибудь выставках выходят, а потом уже на нормальный рынок пробиваются с трудом через там несколько лет. Особенно вот такие инди.
Yeah, that could be potentially a little change up for sure. All right, so a lot of these mini bosses we don't particularly care. We only need to kill them when they're forced to be killed to progress. They take too much time. Even if you can kill them fast, they still have the huge death animation. So if we can avoid killing them, we don't usually bother.
All right, that ghost plays nice.
Yeah, these ghosts are
Так, призрак не стал нас душить.
sometimes
Это хорошо.
probably see here coming up in Ash. They're not nice.
Yeah, and those are the more deadly ones because these ones do like 4 damage or something like that. The ones in Ash do 15. And we're still gonna have 35 max health at that point, so 15's a lot.
Говорят, можно 15 урона получить, и это прям вообще беда.
Two very recent practice runs with
При том, что у нас 32 это максимум. Ну, что поделать, все в урон пошло. Вся прокачка.
The little things that this guy spawns don't matter. We just need to kill the main eyeball. Now we're on our way to our next major upgrade. Very fun upgrade. And it's really the only other required one that's very necessary to even progress to the end of the game.
Да, взяли красную просто, чтобы немножко зацепиться за выступ. Дальше можно дальше бежать магом. И снова еще один выступ.
Here we go. I guess it wasn't that exciting, but
Are we gonna get an RNG lightning bolt?
I don't
No?
know.
Oh, we did!
Ну, как раз-таки лапы Грифона позволяют лучнице выпрыгивать от стен.
По-моему, она позволяет, типа, бесконечно прыгать, потому что так-то способность есть с самого начала.
Но она ограничена.
Да-да-да.
Yeah, I don't know if that even works. That's just is.
Alright, so these heart enemies are a little bit unique. Normally with
Чтобы пройти дальше по уровню, нам необходимо уничтожить сердце, и подобная локация нам встречается еще в дальнейшем.
The hearts, I think, are the only case, aside from maybe a couple main bosses, where projectiles don't disappear after the boss is dead.
И лиана может разрушить только
Yeah,
огонь.
those are pretty much the same thing as Super Mario.
Ну а для удобства
with the little
Рендер меняет
red things.
обратно
So you gotta watch out for
мага,
those. They are
чтобы
quite
быстрее
limited.
уничтожить противника.
It's actually a really good comparison. Phantoms is usually pretty chill. Like, we're not in that high risk area yet. Like, if you're not paying attention,
Мы
you
взяли
can still play
белый
dead,
ключ.
but
Именно белые ключи нам нужны для всякого сюжетного, более продвижения.
Кстати, здесь появились новые враги ниндзя, что также могут цепляться за стены и атаковать издалека.
And here we're actually coming up to our next
И их стоит остерегаться.
encounter with the Black Knight. We're gonna see what he has in store for us this time.
Да, кидают у нас всякие
Spoiler alert,
сюрикены.
it's not really much different than the first fight.
we're also gonna show
Мелочь,
him
но
what we have in
неприятная.
store for him.
И сейчас будет еще один бой с темным рыцарем.
Темный рыцарь, в принципе,
He's gonna do this
ничему новому не научился.
before he gets to do anything else just by jumping and going backwards because he's still trying to walk to us. Nice fight.
Thank you. The jump over was a little bit scary. when you get shock field, it can actually really throw you because
Зато
the extra
плюс
damage hit
дополнительные
in the back of
1600
the
торгов
that leg
и
can
быстрая победа.
interrupt like your jump animations and things like that. So it's actually really easy to accidentally bonk BK if you're just sitting there spamming damage. So I actually kind of let off on my attack when I'm getting ready to do my jump, just to make sure.
Аккуратно скипнули, попрыгали, постреляли и зацепили переключатель.
So this section of the game is this is Ruins of Ash. This is going to be quite the gauntlet. This is literally the most challenging reset heavy part of the entire game. There's a huge gauntlet to go through before you even find another elevator near the top. So even as a
Ждем цикла на шипы.
a lot of things do tons of damage.
В наглую их особо не пробежать.
Приходится ждать, как и с мимо прилетающими сферами. Забираем ключ. Бежим дальше.
This is admittedly scary.
Yeah, so far we're doing great on health. We're not really taking a lot of extra damage. Still going fast.
I almost got hit by that blob though. Actually gonna wait this out. This is basically the one spot that you don't want to take any liberties. Like I said, we're gonna come up to some enemies that can deal 15 damage. You see my health.
Тут 2 сердца.
Luckily, we do have those candles that we can hit as we go if we need to refill our health.
Стараемся избегать вообще любого урона, потому что мы можем получить минус 15 сразу. У нас всего 35 хп.
Yeah, I'm not going to have too much pride if I need to rest.
Очень хорошо прошел.
It is one of the biggest time losses.
Ну, вообще без урона.
Is to rest. It kind of sucks, but if you got to do it, it's something you got to do.
Rune also used to be a heavy reset point for a different reason. There used to be a bug that if you hit switches in a certain way with red after doing a wall jump, she would actually lose her wall jump. I'm going to hit this for safety just in case something goes wrong and I need to come back.
Yeah, that's kind of actually a great thing to point out is that as we're making our way through all this, a lot of these switches actually open up shortcuts to get
Благодаря
to where you
этой
were a lot quicker.
статуе мы телепортируемся.
It's not the end of the world. You don't have to do everything again. And that's kind of the roguelike aspect.
Потратили второй серый ключ.
Further and further, and if you do happen to die, it's not game over. You have a huge head start.
So far, so good, but this is not the scary part of Ruin by any means.
No, this is the relaxed part of Ruins, and it's the longest part of the any percent run for sure to get through.
And the worst part is like the part that's scariest is all chunked together.
Это эти руины самая длинная часть 7% рана.
As soon as you enter the screen. And they pile all of those enemies in all of those sections in a row. So if it goes poorly, like you can literally just get bodied and die entirely in a matter of.
Заберем еще один ключ.
And there's not really a great shortcut back around there. It's kind of in this midpoint before you hit another main point to get back to or another elevator. So that is the most probably clench moment aside from like rough Medusa RNG at the end.
Райнер рассказывает, что тут вообще очень много чего может его убить. Но он совсем справляется вообще великолепно.
Периодически приходится менять мага на лучницу, чтобы преодолевать препятствия и ловушки. Но пока все достаточно играюче.
Все-таки у лучницы самый сильный мувмент, наверное, если не считать этих загличенных прыжков рыцаря, которыми можно скипать очень многое.
This is going to be another ladder jump that's a little bit annoying. This one because you kind of have to angle yourself out over the ladder. all the other ones just get the liberty of
Да,
jumping
да,
straight up, which is
как
nice.
сейчас.
Yeah, this is definitely the most kind of annoying thing to get consistently because it's not based on your performance.
Очень нестабильный скип.
Just if we're lucky. Oh, that's the
Надо
worst
еще не
time to
просто
possibly
скипать и
have.
бить, но и бочком как-то
Неудачно попался на
подлететь.
врага.
So this is what we're talking about with
И он
the
забирает
sniper.
хп сквозь стену.
And where that guy is gonna show up. And if it shows up right where we're coming out of
Вот
the
это
we're gonna take
бэкап.
damage, and it's gonna hurt.
Спасибо, могу.
Another one here. All right.
Маг делает всю работу.
I'm gonna play this patiently, find out where he's going. All right, so he's going there, which is not great, but I mean, I guess I'll deal with him. Whoop.
That was pretty close.
Yeah, I got a little overzealous with that one. All right, please, no bad.
Так, это было близко.
Nice. Okay.
Mm.
Fun fact too, I discovered this when I was talking with Colt for the run about how this kind of happens. Those enemies that drop from the sky there, from the ceiling.
Враги немного рандомные,
Normally they activate when you're in
поэтому
certain
в прошлый раз раннер ждал там,
I
куда он
found
полетит.
that they behave a way that I'm used to on the first run, but it seems like after my first run, if I do like additional
Немного
runs,
полечился даже.
what triggers them and how they behave is actually different. So I've gotten used to having like a different reactive.
Причем всего на 3 хп,
mindset
но
when I'm doing,
может
like,
даже
the
оно
first run of the day.
поможет.
I even start
Ну и
По
все.
сути, у меня сейчас максимальное количество здоровья
after my first
Можно, конечно,
run.
прокачать,
на данный
но
момент.
мы
But I'm gonna have to do a little more
силу
research
все
И взять
скинули.
небольшую броню в
It really
дальнейшем,
feels like that's the
уже перед финальным боссом.
По-моему, кстати, у рыцаря пассивка на сниженный урон. Но это не точно.
They just pushed a beta branch on Steam that allows for New Game Plus, and that's what I've been really interested in lately. So it's a game. If you're interested in seeing this right now, it's only going to get better. So.
And there's additional modes. I mean, like, New Game Plus aside, which is not your traditional New Game Plus, by the way, what they ended up doing is they basically redesigned the entire map. So it's more like a second quest. than,
Удобно
like,
убивать врагов
actual
через стены.
normal New Game Plus, if you will.
For sure, they Kaizo'd it up.
Говорят, еще тут
Patient,
режим
apparently he's just not moving.
новая игра плюс немного переделанный,
I've seen him not move. That's interesting.
Yeah, that was neat.
нежели
All right, another max height ladder jump.
обычно, как он предстоит в играх. Тут переделаны карты. То есть это как
But yeah, aside from
второе
New Game Plus, there's
приключение
also
там
brand new
Марио или
also
типа
monster
того.
mode, which allows you to play as a
Такой
gargoyle that can fly around, and Black Knight mode, where you play as Black Knight.
И тут можно еще есть режим, где можно играть за черного рыцаря, и
Both very different. So, like,
кошмарный режим.
not a game when you buy Astalon.
В принципе, реиграбельность у игры большая.
Of itself, but all the additional modes and stuff like that.
Here we have your typical invisible platforms that shine once in a while. They're not moving, luckily. So, that's the
You
only
wanna
room we
sneak
get to
in?
see that.
Maybe want to sneak in a donation while we're fighting a centaur?
Yeah, no worries. Speaking of devs, we have a $100 donation here from Labs Works. Hey, Strizer and
Подход
Colt.
кентавра по-хорошему лучше не подставляться, потому что он может
We're cheering for you to break it and set a new
нанести
world
достаточно
record
много
time.
урона.
Matt Cap, Don Lepage.
Thank you so
И
much, guys.
помимо медичных атак у него
I'm
также
thinking
есть
marathon
слэш.
safety, so we're definitely not going to see a new record today, but ooh,
The
That's,
the time definitely can come down, but stopping for some of these safeties is going to lose enough time that we probably won't manage that.
just gonna wait this out. Woo!
Получил урон.
That's fine.
Okay,
Все-таки
well,
попал.
it's fine. It is fine because I'm actually going to open this elevator, which again I wouldn't normally do, but marathon safety, if anything were to go wrong, this is our first point since doing all of those scary phantoms, where we could potentially come back to easily. So
Yeah, all that huge.
Да, в нормальном ране так не нужно захиливаться, но он
all the
переживает
safety
за
when you get to that
все-таки
elevator.
марафон.
yeah.
Мало ли какая удача может
Fireball
быть.
at least.
This guy is kind of
Yes.
yeah, there you go, that's nice. Sometimes
Его
the first
локация.
guy immediately
Здесь
jumps
как
to the
раз-таки можно
body,
подобрать
so
еще один
it does a
ключ.
ton of damage. If they attack you, it's a much less.
Yeah, it actually does 8 damage if they run into you, but it only does 4 if they swing and hit you. So I actually want them to attack me there. The thing is, most of the time you try and jump over the first enemy and then end up landing on the second one because he jumps into you anyways. So you kind of have to like plant yourself just on the edge and you can bait the attack. And we only took 4 instead of 8, which is nice. Also, it's worth mentioning, in-game time is great in this game. We obviously, speedrunners encounter a lot of games.
Ранее рассказывает, что в игре очень хороший внутренний таймер игрового времени.
Who actually fixed in-game time for other modes, so we could use it. There used to be like in-game time rollback on Black Knight mode, and I think even Monster mode and stuff like that. But they fixed it for us. So we actually have consistent in-game time across all modes.
И оно очень стабильное, в принципе, во всех игровых модах.
On your platform of choice.
Ну, схватили белый ключ.
PC choices, everything will be equal.
И вновь кентавр.
Luckily, thanks to the devs, figuring that out.
Убегаем от него.
Safety there,
Возвращаемся.
just in case things go bad. I think we'll be fine.
Избегая как раз таки слэша.
You never know.
Yeah. I feel like the next biggest hurdle is definitely Medusa. And that's just because you can get terrible RNG. My second practice run yesterday just got the worst RNG I think I've ever seen for me.
Числа над кентавром выглядят
I'm just
как
like, let's
будто
hope that doesn't happen today.
по нему из автомата стреляют.
Well, if it does, you get to show your skill.
Что, в принципе, недалеко от правды. Очень сильно вкачали магию.
Oops, I messed that up, so we're gonna reload the room here.
People might have noticed the bosses so far aren't like incredibly intimidating. We didn't have too much trouble. We had to deal with the worms randomness, but so far nothing's really that crazy. Especially the first boss. We just have to handle what RNG they throw at us. It's not like we're gonna die.
Кстати, эмблема Икара позволяет героям передвигаться быстрее. И сейчас файт с следующей.
Медузой. Да.
И последний Гаргоной. Салани. Ее будем убивать в несколько этапов.
Meanwhile, it's gonna float around, throw some balls or orbs. I think you guys like that. And we're gonna switch back to Algus because he's gonna do the most damage for this next phase where there's actually a health bar.
Первую фазу мечником ломаем, а вот дальше уже магом.
Да.
And here you can see us just chunking away the health. We're taking a few damage boosts here and there.
That one wasn't intentional.
Well, yeah. It's not a huge deal because we are gonna take it after this fight.
Oh, Ghost, really?
This is the worst RNG we can get is when he spawns.
Сейчас был очень худший рандом. Враг заспавнил призрака.
And then we got Big Suck afterwards, which we wish we would have seen that sooner.
And here he's probably gonna push to the next phase automatically.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna take some damage here.
Забавно, но раннер нанес фиксированное количество урона, и во время того, как у него началась одна фаза, она сразу закончилась, и пошла последняя фаза.
Not the best RNG, but still how you usually expect the fight to go.
Yeah.
And we get more.
Alright, maybe
and
want to
more
sneak
orbs.
in. Yeah, want to sneak in one more donation while we got the orbs going on?
Даже теперь получаем уже зеленый глаз Гаргоны и еще 3000 орбов.
Good luck, Strizer. Have a fantastic run.
Thanks, Bull. Much appreciated. Maybe want to do one more. We're going to take an intentional death here.
One more donation?
Yep.
No worries. We have a $25 donation here from Kona Rican. Have to donate for this amazing run of Astalon. Thank you so much, everyone, for the good luck.
Идем,
И
Дизвар.
на сей раз заходим уже в последний раз в магазин. Нужно будет приобрести внутренний огонь и Death. Внутренний огонь позволяет наносить доп. Урон, когда у героя полное хп, а Death Warp добавляет как раз таки хп, создает эти орбы.
Когда мы умираем, он типа нам дополнительную жизнь дает, или типа того.
actually going to let us make use of the Death Orb.
Ну, также еще качаем магу силу, конечно же. Скорость атаки.
And our Death Orb is right around the corner.
But first,
some extra max life.
All right, so we've got max attack speed, we've got really high attack, we've got a few points into defense. This is basically we're all good to
Конечно,
go. We're fully
сейчас
prepped.
у
We
раннера
are still
невозможно
last
много
cannon. It
жизни.
is possible for me to
Еще
take
и
attacks
подобрали
like
предметы,
14
которые
damage and stuff like
дают
that in this fight.
дополнительно ХП,
So I'm probably gonna
но
go into
одновременно,
mode and pay attention.
собрав все три
So here, as
глаза
you can see, our
Гаргона,
last three Gorgons, they all had their color
мы можем
blue and
приступить к
green.
бою с финальным
And to
боссом.
activate an elevator, you need all three dead to go up to the final counter here. We're gonna see Black Knight again for the final time, and then a special boss you will see right after.
These are really fun scenes too.
А
because
последний
each
раз
game
в игре увидим Темного Рыцаря.
appear in these scenes. Also, this is a jam. Game's got a lot of really good music.
So here we're gonna abuse the part where he
Но, боюсь,
continues
долго ему не
walking
жить.
towards us until he's in melee range, and then we're gonna jump over him real quick there, and then he's gonna continue usually he stops and does a different attack. It's kind of a
Неприятно.
У него тут новая атака появилась.
dodge as much as we can.
This is,
Может мечами
scary.
кидать
I've never
с
seen that attack
потолка.
turn, but what do you expect? It's GDQ.
Может летать.
And so this point, you can't really do a whole lot of damage. We're going to get as much as we can in, jumping off the wall with red, and then we're going to go back to Algus. And there is Black Knight. He is finally done for.
И вот он наконец-то
The
побежден.
worst part about that is really that's gonna hinder my Medusa fight, and it's gonna be really scary because like that was not a small amount of damage by any means.
Yeah, typically you don't take any damage from Black Knight. Hopefully, he
Только
doesn't
это не
get
всё.
out of it just by touching him, unfortunately.
И нас ждет еще один
So,
бой с Медузой.
this is going to be the last boss coming up. It's going to have 3 phases. Each time it'll have a health bar. When the third one depletes, that is going to be time.
Technically, gonna have 4 phases, including roots.
Yeah, but there's no health bar for that, so.
Райан сразу встал в определенное место.
Да, потому что вначале нужно уничтожить корни. И теперь можно приступать уже к уничтожению самой Медузы.
Ну, бьем по слабым местам.
Продолжаем атаковать.
Yeah, I took those 2 damage boosts. Kind of already regretting it. We're gonna see how this is gonna go. Yep.
This is probably the hardest phase to get damage in because we have to jump and go towards the middle to hit it. Only the jewel is active right
Нас
now.
тут стреляют. В принципе, можно ловить эти орбы и пытаться подвисать немного в воздухе за счет дэмэдж буста. Наносить немного больше урона. Но здоровья не так много.
На грани.
А вот этого шипа из-под земли раннер вообще не ожидал. Осталось совсем чуть-чуть.
По сути, сейчас уже финальная стадия.
Да, последняя, 3-я шкала. Просто дождь из снарядов. Но главная проблема этого дождя в том, что его не видно за шкалой ХП. И это время.
And that's Astalon.
Way to make it interesting.
Yeah, right. You got to keep it exciting for everyone. Let's take all the damage right at the start of the fight before it even gets difficult. But yeah, that's Astalon, Tears of the Earth, any percent. Very, very fun run. There's bits of RNG, like, you know, we mentioned that
И вот такая вот игра.
blue jumps is RNG, which can be a little bit frustrating, obviously.
Жмем
I think
клапа
there's
в
kind of
чат.
just the right amount of RNG in this run. Tauros, again, RNG, Volantis, all the bosses. But it's enough to kind of make it exciting, but not make it, the RNG. Especially with a couple of your ladder jumps being right at the start and good early resets. But yeah, that's the game. I highly recommend checking it out. As this story comes to a close, basically, August is going to have his pact with Epimetheus fulfilled. So the other two characters survive, and August is going to have his soul taken. Not the case if you finish 100%. If you do 100%, you can save August. So I highly recommend picking this game up and giving it a try. Colt, did you have any final parting words for us?
Nope, just if you're loving it, if you're interested, pick it up, come join us in the Discord and start running it. It's pretty easy to start.
Yeah, and the game's even got some really short categories. Like if you want to kind of get your feet wet, not only
Он правильно рассказал про всякие категории.
Black Knight any percent and Monster Mode any percent are much
Можно и за Темного Рыцаря побегать, поспидранить, там и разные шорткаты пооткрывать все в игре.
My record's a 49, a low 50 with marathon safeties. I'm totally happy with.
Игра все еще свежая.
52. I got a 52-31 RTA on my side. But yeah, join us. Devs are amazing. Community is amazing. Game is phenomenal.
Комьюнити тоже хорошая.
I think that's it for me. I am strizer86, but make sure you guys continue to hang out. We've got Sath coming up with Willow, and then we've got KLM doing a couple runs after, including Bucky O'Hare. So really great runners. And I'm actually going to be back.
И раннер желает удачи следующим раннерам. Говорит, Castlevania блок тоже интересный.
I will look forward to being back in a couple days.
See you.